Dapper is a micro ORM. You can use it as a replacement of entity framework. The major advantage of Dapper is performance. It is much faster than entity framework. And if you prefer a database first approach, and if you prefer to work with stored procedures or queries, this framework is a good choice for you. Some of my viewers asking me to use DB first approach in .NET Core, so it is the video for those suggestions. If you don't know me, my name is Ravindra Devrani and my goal is to convey my knowledge to all of you people. So in this tutorial we are gonna use Dapper as an ORM and we are gonna make a project with .NET Core APIs where we are going to perform all the CRUD operations. And if you find this video helpful, then please hit that like button and let me know in the comment if it is helpful or not. And feel free to put any suggestions and I will consider those suggestions in the future videos. If you haven't subscribed this channel, please subscribe it also. And one more thing that I want to say, that it is the official documentation provided by Dapper in their GitHub page. So feel free to check this link, github.com/dapper/dapper, and here we have the official documentation of Dapper. You can find all the documentation related to Dapper, and I recommend you that you should definitely check this documentation. It is very well documented. Okay, so let's create a new project. Click here in this icon, create a new project. Now we are gonna select this one, ASP.NET Core Web API, and if you are not able to find it here, you can search it here, Web API, and you will filter the result. And let's just select this one, ASP.NET Core Web API. Click on next and let's rename it to Dapper demo, and I'm going to change location. So if you need to change location, you can change it, and it is our solution name, and here we are going to change it to Dapper demo API, and we are gonna change the solution name because we are gonna add multiple project in this solution. That's why I am keeping the solution name and project name different. Okay, so let's click on the next. Now here we will have multiple solution like this framework. We're going to choose the latest one, .NET 7. If you don't have the latest one, you can use .NET 6 also. That is also gonna work fine. We will not going to implement any authentication type, not going to implement Docker. Just take this configure for HTTPS and select this option, use controllers. If you want to use minimal APIs, then you have to deselect this option. We are going to use the old way of creating APIs with controller and enable open API support if you want Swagger documentation, and that's a good thing. So we are also going to enable this one also. Let's create our project. Okay, so our project has created. I'm going to close this tab and let's run this project. So it is some boilerplate code that is provided by Microsoft, and if we click here and try out, so we will simply get this result. Okay, we are not gonna do this thing, so I'm just going to close that tab. Since we are using Dapper in our project, so we have to create database first. So open your Visual Studio, sorry, not Visual Studio, open your SQL Server Management Studio and let's connect this thing. Okay, now we can click here in new query or query,
so that we can create a database with the command. So let's create a new database. Create database Dapper demo. Let's press F5, or you can click here in execute. Okay, now our database has created. Now use this database. So type here use database, press F5. Now we are inside that database. So either we can press F5 to execute, or we can execute from this icon here where I am hovering the mouse. Okay, now we are inside this database, and you can see it here. We are inside the Dapper demo, or you can directly select it from here also, but with command it is much fun. So let's create a new table. Create table, and let's just name dbo dot person, and you can write it without dbo, that is totally fine. dbo dot person id int primary. Let's write it in the next line. Okay, id int. Okay, first of all I'm gonna zoom in so that you can see it clearly. id int primary key identity. Now what it is going to do, it is going to create a field id with primary key and with auto incremented id. It means we are not going to enter any value inside the id. It is by default starting with 1, and whenever you create a new row it will increment the previous id and store it in it. So when you create a first row, it will create a id with 1. On the second row it will create a id with 2, then in the third row it will create id with 3, and so on. Now name and varchar 30 will be enough, not null. This field is not going to be null. Email and varchar or varchar, whatever you pronunciate it, and varchar 50, it is also not null. So that is our table. Okay, fine. So let's execute it, and successfully completed. That's good. So let's insert some values to it. Insert into person name comma email and values. So first one will be John, and email will be john@rediff.com, and another one will be second record is me, Ravindra. Let's just say ravindra@xyz.com. Okay, let's execute it, and here we have some error. I guess there is comma. Okay, it is fine now. So I was missing this comma here. That is fine. Now we have two records inside this person. So select asterisk from person. Okay, now we have these two records with id 1 and 2, and we haven't entered these id, as you can see here. Okay, so that is it with the database part. Now we are going to move to this Visual Studio. Okay, now what we are going to do, first we are going to open this app setting.json file. Here we are going to define a connection string. Now we are inside the file, so press or press a comma key here. Now we will write the connection strings, and here is our connection ID. It is default. Inside this string we are gonna create our connection string. So inside these double quotes we will define our connection string. So first thing will be data source equals to, and open this thing here, and you will see if I disconnect it here and connect it again, so you will see this server name. It is our data source. So just copy this thing from there and paste it here. So it is our data source or server name. So I'm just gonna close it. I don't need the SQL server now. Data source equals to RAVIND. It is our data source. Now initial catalog, and it is the name of database that we have created earlier, and that was Dapper demo. So it is the name of database. Okay, I'm going to remind you once again, it is the name of database, not the project name or solution name. Now let's enter here integrated security, and we write this line so that we do not need any password or any credential like username or password. So integrated security equals to true. Now encrypt equals to false, and since I am getting some issues in .NET 7, that's why I have to add this encrypt thing here. Okay, now we have defined our connection string, so you can see it here. So here we have this connection strings, then it is our connection ID which is named default. Here our data source which is the name of server. It is initial catalog, it is a name of database that we have created earlier, and integrated security true, encrypt false, and make sure it is a semicolon, not a comma. Okay, so it is separated by semicolons. Okay, so now let's create a folder here, and sorry, not a folder, sorry, my mistake. Let's click on this solution and right click here and click on add new project. I'm gonna show you again. Right click here in this solution and click on this add new project, and we are gonna add a new project here right now, and that is going to be a library project. So it will be our class library. So just type here class library, and we have to select this class library, a project for creating a class library that target .NET or .NET standard. Okay, now let's click on next, and it is our Dapper demo data. Click on next. Yeah, it is framework 7.0. that's fine. Click on next and it will create a project for us. So here we have created this new project. Let's click this, close this class 1, and let's minimize this and go here. So we are gonna delete this file, we do not need it. Okay, so it is deleted. Now what we are going to do, we first of all we need to add some packages. So let's click here on tools, package manager console, and we have multiple options for doing it. You can also add these packages like this. And where is tools and NuGet package manager, manage NuGet packages for solution. So you can search it from here also. So click on this browse and search here Dapper. Okay, so here we have this Dapper, and here we have to install this thing. Let's click on this, not this one, and install it in Dapper demo.data. So make sure you have installed it in this project, not this one. So we will install it in Dapper demo data. Do not make any mistake, otherwise you are gonna face some errors in future. So after selecting this option, click on install. It is a one way, okay, and we are gonna also add it with package manager console. So here we have our package manager console, and here make sure click on this project, sorry, this drop down, and here we have to select this project, which is Dapper demo data. Okay, so I'm gonna remind you once again, please select this one, Dapper demo data. Okay, so do not make any mistakes here, watch every step carefully. So select this one, Dapper demo data. Okay, do not make any mistakes here. So let's type here install package Dapper. So it is going to add a package for us, which is Dapper. Okay, now we need to add another package. So type here install package, and the next package will be Microsoft.data.sql client. Okay, so it is the second package. Click on the enter button, and it is saying that, yeah, I guess I have done some mistake. So Microsoft, spelling mistake, install package Microsoft.data.sql client. Okay, so it is fine now. Very good. Now we have installed the desired packages. Now we are good. So we are gonna add a new folder inside this project, Dapper demo data. Okay, so right click here in this project, add new folder, just name it data. Good. And here we need another folder, models. Good. Now inside this data folder, okay, so now inside this data folder we are going to add a class which is called data access. Okay, so click here, data access. So it is our data access class. Here we are going to define our database logic. So change this internal to public, otherwise you are not able to access this class inside this project. Now we need a private read only, and it is a config, private read only, high configuration manager config. That's it. So it is our field. So it is getting us error, and I guess, not guess, I'm sure it is I configuration. And if we press here control dot, then we will get some hints here, and it is saying that install package Microsoft dot extension dot configuration dot abstraction. Okay, so we are definitely going to install this package by just clicking here. Okay, so install this package either from clicking here or by going there in the tools, and we can also install this package from here, from the package manager console. So why would you go there when we have option here, install package microsoft.extension.configuration dot abstraction. So click on this thing and let's click on find and install latest version. Okay, or if we click on this, what it will do? So I have clicked on the second one, so it took us here. Okay, so I pressed control dot, so potential fixes, and click here, find and install latest version, install with package manager. So I'm clicking on the second one. Okay, so watch here carefully, press control dot, install package, and click on the second one, install with package manager. You can also select it will automatically install it for you. You can select either one of these options. So I'm gonna going with second option. So it is taking us here, and we will install this package. So the latest one is tables and 0.0. Click on install and let's wait. So it is installed successfully, and we can close this tab now. If we press control dot right now, and let's see what it is saying, press control dot and we can click on this using Microsoft dot extension dot configuration. Okay, and what it will do, it will add this line here, using Microsoft dot extensions dot configuration. Now we are doing good. Press CTOR, it will create a constructor for you. Now we can add this thing here, high configuration config, and we can assign this field config, this parameter config. Okay, we are good so far. Now what we are going to do, we are going to create some methods here. So first one will be public async task. Okay, and it will be I enumerable T and P. So it is our generic method T and P. So it will take some parameter here, a string, and second one is string query, second one is P parameters, query P and parameters. Another one will be a string connection ID, and we are gonna add a default here. Okay, so that's it. And sorry, I have messed here. So it is just enumerable T, so it is our return type T, and here we can, and I haven't defined a method name, so it will be get data. it is our method name, and here we will define t comma p. So this t is our return type and it is a p which is a parameter. So we are going to get these parameters dynamically. Press enter, and I am zooming out a little bit. Okay, so here, so it is our first method, that is get data, which will return enumerable of type t, which will be decided in future, and we will have the name get data. It is a name of method, and it have two types, t and p. T is the type of data you are going to return, and p is the parameter which we are defining here. So it will take three parameters: query, parameters, and string connection id, and by default we are setting a value of it to default, and we have used this value from here, appsetting.json, and it is the connection id default. Make sure do not make any mistakes here, just use the same id. So you can also copy it from here and paste it here to avoid any spelling mistakes. Okay, so that's it. And why we are doing it? So that we can easily change it in the future. So if we want to add another connection here, we can directly add that connection id here. Okay, that's fine. Now write some code here. So first of all, we are gonna write here using db connection, press control dot. It will give you some options: using system.data, using system.data.db connection. So click on this, using system.data. Okay, using systemdb.connection, just name it connection equals to new SQL connection. Here it will ask us this connection string. So how we will get the connection string? That's why we have used this config, so that we can access our configuration file. So just click on config dot get connection string, and here get connection string and connection id. So connection id is connection id. Okay, so put a semicolon here and just press and enter here. Okay, now we are fine. So it is our connection. And why we are writing this line? So that we can avoid any memory leaks in the future. It will create a connection here and close it after the usage. Okay, so it will automatically dispose the connection here. Now we are gonna return await db. Okay, sorry, not db, it is connection dot query and connection dot query query async. Okay, and query async. So what it will need, we are going to type here t. Okay, and what it is asking us, command definition, not okay, string SQL and parameters. So just type here query comma parameters or parameters, whatever you pronunciate it. Okay, so don't worry about it. It will make more sense when we create our web APIs. And when you create a large project with it, you will be thankful for me for creating these two methods. With the help of only these two methods and the second method I am going to create now, with the help of these two methods, you will able to maintain the whole project. Okay, so the second method will be public async task, and public async task, we will assign p here. Just name it save data. Just name it save data, and it will take query and p. Okay, so I have messed again here, so it will not return anything, but it will take an input parameter. So we will define p here, p parameters or parameters, connection id, string connection id equals to default. Okay, so it is our method. Now we will just copy this same line here, and now what we are gonna do, wait, so it is connection id. So why it is giving me any error? Okay, I have put the semicolon here. Now we are fine. So just write here await connection dot execute async. That's it. Query parameters, and parameters. So these are the two methods by which we are going to do the database connectivity. So this method will not return anything. So just write here, this method will not return anything. Okay, so it is only used for saving the data, and this method will return a list of type t. So this method is used for getting the list from the database, and this method is used for, will be used for saving the data into the database. Okay, so now we are done to the data access part. Let's close this thing and click here in the models, add a new model here. So add a new class inside the models folder. Just name it a person. Okay, so just write it public and add three properties here which we have defined inside the database. So its second one will be string name, third one will be email, and just put a required attribute here. Very good. Copy this thing, paste it here. That's it. Easy peasy. Now let's close this thing. Now right click here and add a new folder. So let's name it repository. Okay, but before that I just forgot one thing, and we have to create interface for it. Data access and right now we don't have this interface, so it will give us an error. So if we press a control dot here, we put a mouse here or cursor here, press control dot, and it will say us generate interface iData access in new file. Yes, definitely. And what it will do, it will create an interface for us here. So we have this interface here. We are good so far, but what we have to do, just copy this line from task to till here, so paste it here. Okay, it is one method, and do it same thing here, copy from the task to the last parenthesis of the method and paste it here. Now we have these two methods, so put a semicolon here. Now we have this interface and this class. What we have to do, because we have created these interfaces or this interface, so we have to open this Dapper demo API project and click on this program.cs file, and we have to resolve this dependency here. So please do not forget this step, otherwise you are going to get some error in the future regarding the dependencies. So right here, builder dot services, okay, it was a builder dot services dot add transient, let's just name it iData access, it is our interface. So press control dot, and okay, now why we are not able to see it here, because we haven't referenced this project to here. So right click on this Dapper demo API project. So listen carefully, right click on Dapper demo API, not on this project, click on Dapper demo API, right click. So right click here and here, add new project reference. So I'm gonna show you again, right click on Dapper demo API and click on add and click on project reference. Now okay, so we have to select this Dapper demo data, so click on OK button, and now we have referenced this project here. We can check it here. So when we double click on this Dapper demo API, listen carefully, when we double click on this Dapper demo API, it is gonna show us here this line. So we have added the project reference here. You can see Dapper demo data, Dapper demo data.csr project. That is good. Okay, so let's close this thing. Now if we press control dot here, we will see this line here, using Dapper demo data dot data. Okay, click here and it will add this line here, using Dapper demo data dot data. Okay, now we can add this line here, data access. Now we have resolved this dependency here, so I'm going to close this tab for now, and we are done with data access. Okay, so now what we are going to do here, we are gonna add a class here. So first of all, we will add the interface here. So new class, and rather than selecting class, I am selecting the interface, and I'm going to name it hi person repository. Okay, change it to public.
Okay, so we will define some of the methods here. First one, we will need task bool, and let's name it add person. Okay, and it will take an object of person type. That's it. And one more will be update person. That's it. Another one will be, let's just say it will be a type of person, and it will be get person by id, and we will define an id here, and id. Okay, another one will be get people, and it will be enumerable of person type. That's it. Get people, and we have to remove this. Okay, one last thing, that will be a task of boolean type, and it will be delete person. So we need these 5 methods. So let's create a class here, and it will be a person class that will implement the person iPerson repository interface. So it will be a person repository class. That's it, and we will implement this interface there. So let's inherit that interface, iPerson repository. That's it, and we have to change this internet to the public, so let's change it to public. Okay, now right click here and quick refactor and click on implement interface. That's it, it will implement all the method. Now we have to define the functionality, so we need to define a field here, private read only, and it will be data access. Let's just name it db. Okay, so db will be all right. Now what we need to do, we have to define a constructor. For that, just type ctor, press double tap. Okay, it will create a constructor for you. Now let's copy this guy and paste it here. Just type db and assign db to this underscore db. That's it, we are fine. So let's do a thing first. Just open this demo API project, and okay, so go here, person.cs class, and just copy this line and change it to iPerson repository to person repository or repository, whatever it is. Okay, now we have resolved our dependency. Now go there again and define this person repository. That's it. Now just type here try, double tap, and here what we are going to do, we are going to add a person. So where result equals to await it is not underscore await, just await db dot save data. Okay, so what this save data need, it just need this thing, query parameters and connection ID, which is an optional parameter. So just define here a query, 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 and parameters. Okay, so just leave it like this. First we need to define here a query. So a string query equals to insert into person, or we can write here dbo dot person values, or we can type here person name email values @name @email, and just put a semicolon here. That's fine. Now we need to pass an object here, or we can pass it like this, name equals to, sorry, we have to write here new name equals to person dot name, email equals to person dot email. I guess it should be fine, but why it is giving me an error? So let's just see. Okay, so what it is saying, the await cannot be used as an async method. Okay, so what it is saying, cannot assign void to an implicitly typed variable. Okay, so it does not return anything, so we cannot store it inside any variable. Now let's see what it is saying, but for now just return a true from here, and we are assuming it is saved now, and return a false from here. Just type exception ex, and we are not logging any exception here. You can log an exception here by using Serilog or anything you like. Now let's just see what it is saying. So I guess we are done now. Let's try to build it. Let's see, is there any error or not. If there is an error, we will find it right now. Okay, so here we have bunch of errors. First of all, it is saying await operator can only be used in async method, blah blah blah. Okay, so we will provide it an async method. Async. I think now it should be happy with me, so let's build it again. I don't know why it is not displaying error in the compile time or before the compile time. So build 2 succeeded, 0 failed. Okay, we are good now. Now we can copy this guy and we can implement our update method. Very good. Now it also needs an async method. That's it. Now what we have to do, we just have to change this query. So query will be update dbo.person set, let's just say name equals to name, email equals to email, where id equals to id. Okay, so we can provide here an id, so it will be person id, or we can pass a whole object here like this. That will also be okay, I guess. I'm not so sure, but I guess Okay, that's it, and we are good now. Now what should we do? Okay, so let's define that delete method also. Just copy all of these lines here and type async here. Very good. And just right here delete. Okay, so right here delete from person where id spelling mistake, where id equals to @id, and we will provide that id from here. So id equals to id. That is good. And one thing you have to note that this parameter id and this parameter should be same. There should not be any misspelling mistake, or it is a case sensitive also, I guess. So keep that thing in mind. These two things should be matched, this id and this thing. Okay, delete from person where id equals to this, and just save it. Okay, we are good now. So now what we can do, now let's move here, get people. So just type here a string query equals to select asterisk from person. Just type here dbo.person and copy that dbo, paste it here also. dbo.person where, not where, just dbo.person. And now we will write here where people equals to await db.getData, and it needs a type here, so we're gonna type here person and here dynamic. Okay, so this dynamic is a type of parameter that we are going to pass, and it is a person, it is a type of data which we are going to return from this method. So that was it. So this person, so this type and this type should be same. Now let's just pass that query here, query and parameters. Now we need to pass some parameters, and we do not need to pass any parameter here, so we will pass a blank object here. Okay, we are good till now. So just return people from here. Very good. Now just copy these lines and paste them here. Fine. Just type here where id equals to @id, new id, not small one, capital id equals to small I and small d. That's it. But here we have a problem. It is a IEnumerable type. So if we write here like this, IEnumerable person, that will also be fine, but we need to return an object here. I don't know why it is not giving an error, but we need to return an object here, not a list. So we have to write this thing, people dot first dot default. So I don't know why it is giving me an error. So I guess, yeah, async. Okay, I guess we are good now. We have implemented all of these methods, and I don't know are they correct or not. We will test them later. So for now, this class library part is done. Now we will move to the UI part. So open this thing, this project, dapperdemo.api, and right click on the controller. We will add a controller here. That will be an click here on API, and it will be a API controller, and we are going to use this API controller with read write actions so that we can save some time. Okay, that is very fine. So just type here person person controller. Good, we are good. Now we have all of these methods. We have to change them. The first method is our get, which will return a list of person, and press control dot, select this thing, and it will add this line here using Dapper demo data dot models. Okay, so it will be an async method, so wrap it inside the task. Okay, so let's type here get return. Okay, but not okay. We have to inject our services here. So type here private read only, not person but person repository. That's it, and it will add this line here using Dapper demo data dot repository or repository, whatever it is. Now we have to type here ctor, press double tap, it will create a constructor for us, and sorry, it should be an I person repository. Okay, so it will be a person. Very good. Now person equals to person. Now we will write here where data or where people equals to, okay, we are missing a semicolon here, person dot, let's change its name, let's name it person repository. It make more sense here. So let's remove this underscore from here also, person repository, and get people. That is fine. We are good now, and we will do same here. Just copy these lines, not just this line, actually we have to convert it to async task person. So it will return an object of person type, and here rather than get people we will type get person by ID, and we are going to pass this ID here. And what we are going to check here, if people equals to null, or we can write here, we can write it like this: if people is null, then return not found. Okay, otherwise return okay people. So why it is yelling at me? Created okay object result of, let's see, so if people is null, first of all let's change its name because it's an object of single, so it should not be people. Now we will look into an error. So what it is saying, if person is null, creates a not found that produces status code, returns the created, cannot implicitly convert the type microservice MVC not found result to Dapper. Okay, it should be an IXN result, and here I have done that terrible mistake also. It should be an IXN result. Now we are good. Okay, so I have changed it from this to this. Keep that thing in mind. Okay, now we are good. So if person is null, then we will find it not found, otherwise everything is fine. So we will do same here, async, and it will be async task I action result. That is fine. Post, and we're going to remove this from body guy from here. Just type here person. That is fine. Now let's see what we can do. First of all, we will check if model. First of all, we will put a negation sign here. Model dot is valid. Model state dot is valid. It means if model state is not valid, so we will return, and we can, let's just see, we can pass here bad request and just pass here a message invalid data. Okay, now let's see where person, sorry, so where result equals to db dot, not db, it was a repository, something person repository dot add person, that's it. So it should be await here. Now let's just see if result is true, and let's see, let's write here not true. So if we have any error inside that person repository dot add person method, so we will just return this bad request from here. Okay, just write here could not save data, anything like that. So let's type here okay, and we do not need to pass a result here. So that's it, I guess. Let's copy this thing from here to here, and we are also gonna copy this, not all of this thing, just these thing, async task action result, and it should be like this, public async task I action result, put id from body. From body we will pass an object person. That is it. Now if model is not valid, invalid data, rather than add, we will update it. Okay, now here we will check a condition where person equals to, let's change it to new person and copy this new person and paste it here. Okay, so paste that new person here. Okay, now we will find a person where person repository dot get person by id. If person is null, then return not found. And here person, new person. Okay, so we can write it like this. Sorry, not person, new person dot id equals to id. Okay, that's it. So now what we can do, we can copy all of these code and paste it here, and we can utilize this code. So first of all, we will type here async task I action result delete. First of all, we do not need these two lines. Now we will check this if person is null, not found. Now we do not need this line also, and delete person, and it need just an id. Okay, so I guess we have deleted a person here. So if this if result is not true, then we will return a bad request, could not save data. Otherwise it will be okay. I guess we have defined all the methods, so let's run the project at the last thing we have to do here. Okay, so now we will test these things here. So let's click here and it will expand. Now click on this thing, this button, try it out. Just click here and click on execute. Let's see, do we get any error or not? So we are getting an error here. That's a pretty bad error. System dot not support exception serialization deserialization of system dot xn instances are not supported path and it's a big mess. So now what we can do, okay, we do not have to worry. Let's click here, put a breakpoint here, and let's see, is this method hitting or not? So this method is definitely hitting. Now click on this down arrow, you can see where I am clicking here. Okay, so click on this thing, step into, and you can press directly F11. So now click again and we will go inside this method. Now here, okay, so if we click here again, we will go there and there and again there. Let's just see, are we getting any result or not? So here we are getting the result, that is fine. So click on it again, and so it's a different problem, I guess. Okay, so let's click on this execute button once again, and this time we will click on this step over, and shortcut of this thing is F10, and here we are getting, okay, so we are getting this thing here, and that is a terrible mistake again. I have to write and await here. Okay, and this thing will go here also, await get person by id, and here is await also, and here await also. Okay, so here we have to change it to await, await, that is fine, and one await will be needed here also. Okay, so we are fine now, I guess. I'm not that sure, so let's just check that thing again. Okay, so we are here, so expand this guy and try it out, execute, and let's see, this time we are getting a list, so remove that breakpoint from here and we are good to go. Now we are getting an array, so let's clear it and cancel it and minimize this thing. Okay, so let's do one more thing here. Let's expand this post method, try it out, and here just type max at the rate xyz.com, and let's name it max11, and rather than type here x11, let's click on execute. Let's see what we are getting from the response, and we are getting 200 OK status code. I guess that is fine. So if I copy it here and just type here API/person, so we are getting a new record here, id equals to 3, max 11, email max 11. Okay, so that is fine. So let's minimize this thing and let's move here. So we will try this thing here. So just pass here id 3 and we are getting this error here. Okay, so no problem. We are gonna put a breakpoint here and let's execute it again and click on this step into F11. Okay, that is fine. Click here once again, and here we have this problem. I have noticed here a spelling mistake WHERE. Okay, I guess we are good now. I'm gonna remove this breakpoint from here. Okay, so let's test this thing right now. id equals to 3, execute. Okay, now we are getting 200 status code, and in response body we are getting this object. Okay, let's cancel this thing and let's test this method. Click on, try it out, 3, and we are gonna pass max and max at the gmail.com, and before that let's type this URL here, and you can see with id 3 we have this record name max11 xyz.com is email. So now we are gonna execute it and we are getting a success code. Okay, that's a good news. Now you can see we have changed its name to max and email to max at the gmail.com. Now we have the last method to test, and I'm feeling very good at this moment. So let's click on this, try it out, and we are gonna delete that third record. Execute, and we are getting a 200 status code. That means okay. Okay, so let's refresh this, and we just have 2 records now. So we are done. Now we are done there, and I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. So if you find this video helpful, then please hit that like button, and if you haven't subscribed this channel, please subscribe it. To support me, please share this video to your friend circle so that they can also get a help from this video. So that's it for now. I will see you next time.